This idea right here of wolves in sheep's clothing is one of the most difficult things that we've had, that people have to be able to convert the idea of conspiracy to applying it to people that they are following in either media, government, or whatever it is. Without this, without understanding this principle, we will continue to fall for conspirators and the conspiracy solutions, because even though we understand the conspiracy, if we don't understand this principle, we will give bad guys the benefit of the doubt and continue to trust them and follow down the path that they're leading, which is designed, and we'll cover these specifically, to make sure that we are as ineffective as possible. And so in addition to the conspiracy, this principle right here is one of the most important principles to making sure that we are as effective as possible in our activism. We are going to get into specific names of wolves in sheep's clothing. We're not trying to make people angry. We're not trying to offend you by naming maybe people that you just love. It's one of those things, reaching people where they're at and making sure, right? We're not going to go, typically we don't go up to people and say, hey, your favorite politician or your favorite media personality. Well, they're actually satanic conspirators. It's not one of those top list of things to do to win friends and influence others, right? But at the same time, right now, we hope that you've gone through these courses so far and have developed your understanding of, yes, there's a conspiracy out there. Yes, there are clearly wolves in sheep's clothing, but I'm not sure how it is that I can start to identify who these people are. And so, we're willing to put our egos back a little bit and put them on check for a second and be willing to say, you know what, maybe my favorite personality isn't who I thought they were. And so I hope you'll bear with us and be patient with us as we explain this principle. So let's get into that a little bit more. The Savior taught a key principle for us to start to identify these people. He says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves, and ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? The Savior doesn't say judge them by their words. He says judge them by their fruits. What are they producing? What are they doing? What are their actions? Because it's very easy to say the right things. A wolf in sheep's clothing, somebody they're trying to fool you, will say the things that they think you want to hear. And so they're going to talk about the Constitution. They're going to talk about the Founding Fathers. But then their solutions, their actions, their fruits, what they're producing are not going to be something that is actually producing liberty, but they're actually designed to get us off track. So this is one of the first key principles for us to start to identify who are people that aren't actually what they appear to be. And so Taylor Caldwell wrote a book called A Pillar of Iron, where she also lays out a principle where she says, a nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. Those people that are outside, those are the ones that conspirators will want you to focus on because they're on the inside and they don't want you to look at them. An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly. But the traitor moves amongst those within the gate freely, his sly whispers rustling through all the alleys, heard in the very halls of government itself. They dress like you, they talk like you, they're going to say all the things that they think you want to hear. For the traitor appears not to be a traitor. Now we go off to this principle that we need to understand is that if we can accept the idea that we've been fooled in the past, are currently fooled in some ways, and will be fooled in the future, have no hope in defeating the conspiracy. I admit it, I've been fooled. It's taken me time after time of making mistakes, trusting the wrong people, to start to understand these key principles. And so it's okay to make mistakes. There's a great, talks that people have, there's a guy on YouTube, I watched a video that he said he likes to be the dumbest guy in the room, where if somebody's, giving a presentation and he doesn't understand, to not be afraid to say, I don't get it. To maybe look stupid to everybody else that is appearing to understand, but recognizing that we all have something new to learn. And so it's important for us to realize that we've been fooled in the past. I've been fooled in the past. I'm sure there's things that, we don't know. I don't know maybe right now some of the things that I'm fooled by. And that, of course, there are chances that I'll be fooled in the future. But understanding the principles we're going to go over tonight will help us to mitigate this as we apply it. So Vladimir Lenin, he explained this principle very well himself because he used it. He said, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. Setting up your own opposition so that way when people, he no doubt recognized that there would be people that opposed him. And so he would get ahead of it and start his own group that said, Stalin, Lenin is bad. And so that way, anybody that opposed Lenin would A, be identified, and B, they would make sure that they were sent off on tracks that wouldn't actually do any damage to Lenin himself. So controlled opposition, what is it exactly and how does it work? We've kind of laid those foundations, giving you a little bit of a definition of it, but we want to kind of show you this. He says, we see here, it's a strategy in which an individual, an organization, or movement is covertly controlled or influenced by a third party, whereby the controlled entity's true purpose is something other than its publicly stated purpose. We have here this illustration of the slaughterhouse, but we have it, sectioned off of left versus right. Like we have this choice of, they're both going to the slaughterhouse, but maybe this side of the path is going to be slower to the slaughterhouse, and so that's better. This illusion of free choice. The controlled entity serves a role of mass deception, surveillance, and or political and social manipulation. They're going to identify, they're going to surveil those that are opposed to the official line, and they're going to make sure they're going to manipulate your political or social thinking. In most cases, the controlled party is portrayed as being in opposition to the interest of the controlling party. They are a part of the controlling party, but outwardly to the masses, they're showing themselves as being opposed to the controlling party. We think of that old Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox, where he says, don't throw me in that briar patch. He's saying, outwardly he's saying, oh, I don't want this thing, where that's his home. And so that's exactly where he wants to go. And that's exactly how false opposition works. Their objectives. What are the things that they're trying to do? They want to capture wayward flocks and guide them into the conspirators' fold. They guide all individuals through the emotional process to the ultimate conclusion and acceptance of the conspiracy's narrative. They mitigate any actions against the conspiracy or make those actions actually profit them. They're going to make your opposition to them actually help them out in the long run. So if we don't understand false opposition, then the cards are stacked against us. Everything that is going on is designed to make sure that we're not effective when we don't understand false opposition. So their tactics that they use, we're going to go over these and we're going to lay them out, and then we're going to go over them specifically individually in more detail. So they control the argument. They make false attacks on people that are their friends. And so that way you think, oh my goodness, CNN's against them. They must be fantastic. And then they also create a false hero where they will promote somebody as the champion of the cause of liberty. You have political theater. You have false righteousness, pretending to be something that is grand when it is not. They want to make it look like you're consenting to what they're doing. They also engage in what's called black hole activism. And there's also fake freedom organizations, which they're designed to be black hole. Also a steam release. We're going to get into that. What does that even mean? They're going to engage in minor concessions. And then, of course, fake conspiracies. So that way you look like a fool because you're promoting a lie or something that's ridiculous. They're going to have manufactured events to get people into their corners. And then, of course, rapture cult and New Age Christianity that we covered in more depth than we will tonight in our first boot camp, which you can view right now in class number 1. And so the next one is the final one is the myth of peaceful resistance, which I think this will be a shock to most people.